Previously, the group fought back against the small horde of kobolds that were attacking them. You know, could have gone better. Lots of people ended up on fire, or with arrows in them, or with arrows in them that were on fire. The biggest issue was a sorceress who was using a staff that, shockingly, was filled with fire spells. Ryland magically moved closer to the sorceress, and with some help from his new friend in the staff, used telekinesis to steal the staff from her. He managed to get away with it, but a bunch of the kobolds immediately turned their attention towards him. For those who don't know, wizards are squishy. Ryland didn't survive the kobold's attention. Ryland dropped the staff when he went down. One of the kobolds stole the staff back and started to carry it towards the sorceress. It dropped it at her feet, and then Taria magically appeared over there to steal it. Except when she picked it up, she finished transforming into a kobold, and a voice in her head told her to attack the others. Sean quickly cast banishment on Taria, since her turning into a kobold during a fight against kobolds seemed like a bad thing. In the demiplane that she'd been banished to, Taria stopped hearing the voice in her head, which made it clear that it was the land itself that had cursed her and not the staff that she was still holding. While she was limited in what she could do, the bag of holding was working again in the demiplane, so she shoved the staff in it and grabbed a few other things out to take back with her. Meanwhile, the group was able to kill the sorceress and the remaining wyvern riders, and the rest of the still alive kobolds quickly decided they were done with the fight. Sean brought Ryland back to life with a Revivify spell. For a moment, she thought the spell was going to fail, but at the last second, she saw Lady Luck appear and the spell went through. It was almost as if on a scale of 1 to 20, she needed anything but a 1, and she got a 2. While he was alive again, Ryland's face was still scarred from where a blade had gone through his eye. He could see out of it, but it had a noticeable draconic tint to it. Since banishment only lasted a minute, the group prepared to deal with Taria when she came back. Taria tried to disguise herself to make it look like she was normal, but everyone saw through it. Mainly because multiple people had instantly cast a number of spells to hold her in place the moment she came back from the demiplane. Sean cast Greater Restoration, which helped push back some of the mental issues from the curse. Taria told the others that she'd pulled some things out of the bag of holding while in the demiplane that she hoped would help. She asked Ryland to mix a potion with ink to make a tattoo to protect her mind. Ryland went to work on it, but he forgot to factor in the fact that there was sulfur around them, which affected the liquids involved. The alchemy seemed to fail, and the group had no idea what to try next since there weren't any replacement ingredients. Around that point, Sean asked for a bit of divine intervention from Lady Luck, and to the absolute shock of everyone, it worked. Ryland suddenly realized that while the potion hadn't done what he'd been expecting, it hadn't failed. It had actually been taken a step further and did what was intended, plus a few more things. That's why he thought it hadn't succeeded. They were able to use the ink to tattoo a rune on Taria's arm that not only transformed her back into herself instead of a kobold, but also prevented her from being affected by the curse again in the future. Then they set out again. Late in the day, they came across the Emberclaw Trading Company. It was a group of kobolds who were much more interested in trading goods for shiny things than fighting. Ryland and Taria bought some alchemy supplies. Tarnak found a violin that was originally from the orchestra in Periandropolis, although he couldn't read the name that was carved into it because it was too worn. I'm sure that won't be an important plot point that comes up later. Tarnak asked the kobolds about the violin, and one of them ended up playing a drum for him when the conversation turned to music in general. Unfortunately, the kobold was playing the song that the sovereign played in their heads, which made Ryland slowly start the beginning of the transformation process. Sean traded various small gems for a map of the region, a book on local flora and fauna, and a signet ring that belonged to the Valoran family. When she had Ryland and Taria take a look at it, they confirmed that the ring was magical, although the Valoran who previously wore it might not have realized it, since it was clearly passed down through the family for a number of years. The group decided to stay in the tiny hut for the night, which seemed to protect them from the effects of the cursed land. And that is where we left off.